Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about standards, which are very different than expectations. I'm all about standards because what that is are benchmarks, essentially, deal breakers of the person that you want to date that potentially they have it or they don't. And if they don't have those standards, they don't meet your standards, you're just not even entertaining the relationship. And so there's standards that guys have, right? But what's interesting, especially on social media, is that women will talk freely about their standards and expectations. But when a man talks about his standards, he is usually insulted. And depending on what that standard is, he will even be called insecure, right? Insecure is the insult that I see all the time coming from women towards men that are talking about their standards. So today we're talking about the top 5 standards that men will oftentimes have, but when they talk about it openly, they are oftentimes called insecure, simply because they have these standards. So let's count down. Number 5, this is always a hot button item. Him not wanting a woman that posts provocative pictures on social media, especially Instagram, right? So men know that women do this out of a desire for attention, right, ladies? Like, there's just no hiding that secret. Men know. And even though he might be fine with you doing that before you're dating, like when you're getting to know each other, that's usually not a deal breaker. It might be kind of a holdup, but especially once you get in that relationship, if you're still doing that, the problem is that you're seeking attention from men that are outside of your relationship. And what does that tell you about his attention for you? Is that not enough? That's a problem for him because it means that his attention is not enough for you. But the way that a lot of honestly toxic women will see this is that he doesn't want the competition, right? So if she's posting photos of herself half naked on Instagram and she's getting all this attention, and if her boyfriend has a problem with it, it's because he is afraid of another man grabbing her attention and could potentially win her over. Hence, her man is insecure, which is so messed up because it has nothing to do with him being worried that some other guy is going to grab her attention. It's the fact that she's seeking another man to grab her attention. Very different things. Number 4, him not wanting a woman with a high body count. I've talked about this before, guys, in a prior video a few weeks back when I listed the reasons why men don't want to date a woman with a really high body count. If you want to go back and check that out, awesome. But what it basically boils down to is that this man wants a woman that is free of STDs, that he can bring home to his mom, that has fulfilling hobbies herself outside of just going out drinking and having fun and partying. She has less emotional trauma. I think we can all say that stuff happens in our past no matter what. But for a woman that has a really high body count, they have generally gone through more traumatic events. And side note to that, absolutely, people can heal their trauma, but I think that it takes a lot of maturity and growth. And that's something else that would stand out potentially. If this was just in her past, I think that that's a select few. I think that for most that have a high body count, they haven't really done the work and they haven't worked through that trauma. And then the last thing is that he wants a woman that is able to pair bond, right? If they're looking for a long-term monogamous relationship, they don't want a woman that is having difficulty in that area because of the amount of partners that she's had in the past. But what I'll say is that for some toxic women that have a high body count, when they hear that they are not wanted by a man that doesn't want a woman with a high body count, is that they think that he's insecure about the men that she has slept with before, that there's some sort of ongoing competition between the two to be the best that she's ever had. But that's not really it. It's all the other things that I just mentioned. It's not really about her past. It's about how her past impacts her future. So these men that desire a woman with a low body count, especially men that have a low body count themselves, it's not because they're insecure. It's because they just have that standard for themselves and for the partner that they want to be with. Number 3, maybe this is just a Miami, Florida thing, But men don't want a woman that is out clubbing every night, right? Or going to a certain bar that kind of has that atmosphere. Because we know that there's certain clubs and certain bars that are designed for meeting and dating new people. And look, if she's in a relationship with a guy and she's still wanting to hit this scene every weekend or pretty frequently, it's very similar to the woman that is posting half naked photos on Instagram. She wants that outside attention outside of her relationship, outside of what her man is giving to her. And her man doesn't like it. Not because he's insecure over the other men. It's simply because he wants a woman that is fully satisfied by his attention that he's capable and able and willing to give to her. And if she isn't, then how can he expect her to be okay in that long-term monogamous relationship? Number 2, I will hear this standard quite often from men, and they are always, I swear, always attacked in the comments. And that is when he doesn't want her to be friends with her ex or her exes, as long as there's no shared children between them, because that's a different story aside. But for ones that they don't share children with, why does there need to be an ongoing friendship where there was once attraction, right? Because it's very unlikely that her and him have just at the same moment decided that they're no longer attracted to each other. And even if it's one-sided, having a friend that is attracted to you or vice versa is playing with fire, especially when you start sharing relationship details with them, right? If they're a good close friend, that might happen. And a lot of men set this as a standard because they just don't see it as necessary to leave that door open. There's plenty of people out there to be friends with. There's really no reason why you need to stay friends with an ex when they are not your future. They are your past. Now, of course, being cordial, if you have to interact with them, if they work at the same place as you, if you just live in a town in which you see them, like they're already kind of integrated into your life, being cordial with somebody is very different from actually being friends with them. And then there's other levels of this too, of course, that, some people think that you should unfriend all of your exes even on social media. Some think that you don't necessarily need to do that. I think it just depends. I think that if you're checking up on them because you're still friends with them and you can see their social media stuff and you find yourself checking up on them frequently, that kind of means you need to probably unfriend them. Final one, number 1. This is one that I just recently talked about on one of my viral TikToks, and it is not trusting that one guy friend that is always there for her the second that she needs him. Because men know that guys have a focus on whoever they're most interested in that moment. So if that guy friend is seeming to prioritize her, a woman that already has a boyfriend, it's pretty clear that he's playing the long game. And guys know this. And it's not because he's insecure. It's because he knows that guy friend is playing the long game. And he feels like he's in this not so obvious but obvious competition. And no man wants that. Guys, let me know. Do you agree or disagree with any of these points? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and the last thing I want to say, guys, is thank you for getting me over 100K followers. It is amazing. I just got my play button and I'll probably post a photo of that. Thank you. I love this community that we're building on YouTube. I think you guys give such good feedback in the comments. I love how there's no limit really on how much you can say. And I think a lot of guys are finding it helpful, even hearing from you guys. So please share in the comments your thoughts, and I'll see you next week.